bunch of us had these ideas about we need to do more for the good of the base and then research and stimulate things like workforce. We called a meeting. Bill came. Yeah. We had two other guys, one who's since passed away, Dan Curtis, and the other one was Bob May. And the five of us then are considered the founders and just start talking about what could we do as a group to make a difference in this area. Look where we are today. I think the five of us sort of liked the idea of using the Wright brothers because of where we are, but we all were reluctant to use it without some sort of acknowledgement from the Wright family. Back in that time frame, a guy by the name of Wick Wright, who was the direct nephew of Orville and Wilbur. We had this nice fancy lunch, all really, we really did it up good with tablecloth. Really, we're gonna make a big deal, thinking we had to market this and sell it. So we sit out, I spend a better part of 5 minutes explaining to Wick, he stops me. Yeah, he says, what do you want? Yeah. I says, we want to use your name. He says, okay, bye. Almost, it was too easy. And the day Frank walked into the office, said, Vince, I think I got an idea you'll love. Yeah. The meeting was great, but it would have never happened had not have been for that idea that ended up being called a PIA.
I think what kept us strong is our really strong relationship to Air Force Research Lab and AFMC. I mean, a lot of people like to work for WBI, and they're good people. And I think our reputation is because of the people.
My last assignment with the Air Force was as Director of Small Business with the Air Force Research Laboratory. And in that role, the Wright Brothers Institute was one of my major partners in helping connect small businesses with the Air Force and specifically the Air Force Research Laboratory. Using the process that the Wright Brothers Institute did, that led to the development and setting up of a small business hub as a community gathering place to be able to have programs to help these small businesses meet with, communicate with, and understand how to do business with the Air Force Research Lab.
When I think of WBI, I think about teams and teamwork, multidisciplinary people coming together to tackle hard problems. But I also think about family and relationships.
So when we were starting Mile 2, Dave was the first employee we ever hired. And the first time I met him was at WBI. Them creating those kind of spaces enables new companies to get started.
They had a lot of just that visceral energy. They wanted difference. They wanted to see what else could be done.
And I think that's probably impacted our thoughts when we started standing up the intern program. And I don't know that I would have been as strongly exposed to that without seeing all the summer of innovation things that were going on at WBI.
Because I had the Wright Brothers Institute imprimatur, I put a group of people together from AFRL, from Ohio State, and from GE, and we were able to get what was equivalent of $10 million to go build the Center for High Performance Power Electronics at Ohio State. It's an internationally recognized capability at Ohio State, and it was facilitated by Wright Brothers Institute.
WBI sits right in the nexus between the Air Force, those programs, and those small businesses. We regionally are taking technologies off the Air Force base. We're bringing those into small businesses. These businesses are being created, employers are being hired, revenue's being made, value's being created for investors. We're able to say through our programs, because of our relationship with WBI, $360 million of follow-on impact for small businesses doesn't exist without WBI.